This video covers the essential safety requirements for welding and cutting operations in construction, based on the OSHA Standard 29 CFR 1926, Subpart J. Our objectives include discussing OSHA's minimum requirements for gas and arc welding, fire prevention, ventilation, protection, safe use of equipment, and hazard abatement methods. Subpart J on welding and cutting covers key sections like gas and arc welding, fire prevention, ventilation and protection, and working near preservative coatings. For gas welding and cutting, compressed gas cylinders must have valve protection caps secured in place when not in use, as specified in 1926.350A1. Cylinders must only be hoisted while secured on a cradle or pallet. They must not be hoisted by a magnet, choker sling, or the cylinder caps, according to 1926.350A2. Cylinders shall be moved by tilting or rolling them on their bottom edges, as per 1926.350A3. Valve protection caps must not be used for lifting cylinders. Frozen cylinders must not be pried loose, hit with a tool, or thawed using boiling water, as per 1926.350A5. Unless cylinders are firmly secured on a special carrier, regulators must be removed, and valve protection caps put in place before cylinders are moved. This is outlined in 1926.350A6. Cylinders must be secured while in use. A cylinder truck, chain, or other steadying device must be used to prevent cylinders from being knocked over, per 1926.350A7. Valves must be closed when work is finished, cylinders are empty, or when moved. Also, cylinders must be secured upright except when being hoisted or carried, following 1926.350A8 and 9. Oxygen cylinders must be separated from fuel gas cylinders and combustible materials by a minimum of 20 feet, or a fire-resistant barrier, according to 1926.350A10. Cylinders must not be exposed to sparks, hot slag, or flame. They must not become part of an electrical circuit or have electrodes struck against them. Fuel gas cylinders must be placed valve end up when in use and must not be taken into confined spaces, as per 1926.350B14. Cylinders must not be used as rollers or supports. No damaged or defective cylinder shall be used, as damage can cause a weakness or crack in the cylinder wall or shell, according to 1926.350C1 and C3. Before connecting regulators, the valve must be opened slightly and immediately closed to clear away dust or dirt. If a special wrench is required to close the valve, it must be left in position on the stem, as per 1926.350D1D2. Fuel gas and oxygen hoses must be easily distinguishable by color or touch and must not be interchangeable, following 1926.350F1. When oxygen and fuel gas hoses are taped together, no more than 4 inches out of every 12 inches shall be covered by tape, as required by 1926.350F2. Hoses must be inspected before use, and defective hoses must not be used. If a hose has been subjected to flashback, severe wear, or damage, it must be tested to twice the normal working pressure, following 1926.350F3 through 4. When not in use or when work is completed, close the cylinder valve and bleed the lines of pressure, as required by 1926.350D4. Torch tip openings must only be cleaned with devices specifically designed for that purpose, as stated in 1926.350G1. Torches must be inspected before each use for leaking valves, hose couplings, and tip connections. Defective torches must not be used, following 1926.350G2. Torches must not be lit from matches, cigarette lighters, other flames, or hot work. They must be lit by friction lighters or other approved devices, according to 1926.350G3. Oxygen cylinders and fittings must be kept away from oil and grease. Oil or grease contamination can lead to spontaneous combustion in the presence of oxygen, as per 1926.350I. Moving to arc welding and cutting, only manual electrode holders designed for arc welding must be used, as required by 1926.351A1. Current carrying parts to be held by the user must be insulated against the maximum voltage following 1926.351A2. Cables must be free of repairs or splices for 10 feet from the holder, unless insulated to equal the value of the cable. Worn or exposed cable must be protected by insulation equal to the original value or not used, according to 1926.351, B2, and B4. Ground return cables must have a maximum current carrying capacity equal to that of the unit they serve, as outlined in 1926.351C1. Unattended electrode holders must be made safe by removing electrodes and placed or protected to prevent injury, following 1926.351D1. Whenever the welder leaves, stops work, or moves the welding machine, the power supply switch must be turned off, as specified in 1926.351D3. Arc welding or cutting equipment that is faulty or defective must not be used, according to 1926.351D4. Arc welding or cutting operations must be shielded or screened off to protect nearby employees from direct rays and sparks, as required by 1926.351E. Moving to fire prevention. Hot work should be performed in designated areas free of fire hazards whenever possible. Precautions must be taken to contain heat, sparks, and slag to prevent contact with flammable or combustible material, as per 1926.352AB. Fire extinguishing equipment must be readily available. When normal precautions are insufficient, assign additional personnel, like a fire watch, to guard against fire during hot work, following 1926.352DE. Drums and containers holding flammable or combustible liquids must be kept closed. Empty containers must also be removed from the hot work area, according to 1926.352H. For ventilation and protection, local exhaust ventilation must keep smoke and fumes in the breathing zone within safe limits, as defined in Subpart D, following 1926.353A1. In confined spaces, provide general mechanical or local exhaust ventilation, or employees must wear supplied air respirators. An attendant must be outside, equipped to provide emergency aid, following 1926.353B13. Employees exposed to welding arcs or sparks must be protected by filter lenses that meet the requirements of Subpart E, specifically 1926.102 for eye and face protection. Workers exposed to radiation must be protected against burns from ultraviolet rays. Welding helmets and hand shields must be free of leaks and openings, as required by 1926.353D12. Employees performing any type of welding, cutting, or heating must wear suitable eye protective equipment in accordance with the requirements of Subpart E, following 1926.353E2. Before beginning hot work on surfaces with a preservative coating, a competent person must test the coating for flammability. If flammable, the coating must be stripped from the area to be heated to prevent ignition, as per 1926.354AB. To summarize, we have discussed OSHA's minimum requirements for gas and arc welding, fire prevention, ventilation and protection, and the safe use and handling of equipment. This includes hazard identification and abatement methods. Thank you for watching this video. We encourage you to review the video content and applicable OSHA standards for further information.